So I got a download yesterday that basically said the body is a machine that consciousness dwells in. And it felt very prophetic. It was just like it just came to me. And I feel like I get these messages a lot and I hesitate to share them because I'm most of the time my ego mind is just like, well, nobody cares. And it's just like, you don't even really run across people that care like that. But I'm like, no, there is a whole community of people who care about things like this. There is a collective consciousness. There is a collective awakening through consciousness that's happening on the planet right now. So it's like you're doing a disservice if you don't share what you're receiving. And so I kind of had to just go through that. But this brought up pain that I experienced with when I lost my mom. And my mom passed away back in 2021. I remember prior to that just always having the feeling that if I ever lost my mom or my dad, I would lose it. I wouldn't know how I could exist because my mom has just been such a monumental figure in my life. Like that was my best friend. And I remember going to see her in the hospital. She had a stroke and it was abrupt. Like, we did not expect anything. This was just so left field. And my mom was only 51 at the time. So I remember going to see her, and this is of course post-COVID, so 2021, you're still not allowed to visit the hospital. It was just chaotic. So when she was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, we couldn't go see her. We could only talk to her through a tablet. So I remember she had to go through a surgery and they finally let us come see her. But after she went through the surgery, they said that she was going in and out of awakeness. So essentially me and my stepdad went to see her and she was breathing and she was there. I felt her, but she could not, she was sleeping. But when we walked in the room and I was talking to her, the heart machine was, of course, the beeping was going up. Her heart rate was elevating. So I knew consciously, she knew that we were there, but her body just would not respond. She wouldn't awaken. Her body wouldn't respond. So I remember knowing she's there. And then something happened to where it was crazy. They had to run in, pull the tubes out of her. She started bleeding from her mouth. I don't want to get too graphic, but it was as if she was signaling us that something was wrong. Now, this was March 12th. This was my son's birthday. I just never forget this day. That evening, we get a call from another doctor because the doctors just kept flip-flopping. And they said they were putting her back in ICU. And essentially, they said that she was going to have to be on a breathing machine for the rest of her life. Now, at this time, I'm like, who knows what any of this means? Because it's just like blah, 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 blah. That's what you're hearing when you're in this state. So anyway, long story short, they allowed us to come see her on the next day after they told us this news. When my stepdad and I went to see her, it was maybe about 5 a.m. because I could not sleep. It was just like, get up and go see your mom. Get up and go see your mom, because they called us late and said that we could come see her as a family. So again, post-COVID, they would not let us come see her before. So they're telling us everything, but she's gone. So me and my stepdad, we go see her about 5 a.m. And I remember walking into the room and it felt cold. And I saw my mom laying there and I just knew immediately she was gone. Her soul, her consciousness was no longer in her body. And I don't know how to explain it, but I felt that. And it was just like an instant breakdown. If you've ever lost a parent or anyone really, really close to you, you will know what I'm talking about as far as that feeling. But long story short, her consciousness was gone. And I remember the pain, and I remember what I went through for that whole period of time. But I want to say this: even though I experienced that and is this excruciating pain that I had never felt in my life, the following days to come, and I had family, it was kind of a blur, but I remember sitting in my room, and never has this happened to me before. My lights started flickering. Like, I was talking about my mom And it was just like this, all this sadness, and I'm crying, and then we got family in there crying, and then the lights start flickering. And it happened maybe 3 or 4 times that week. And this never, to this day, it had never happened prior to that, and it never happened after that. So it was like I had this uncanny feeling that my mom was communicating with me. Her spirit was communicating with me, and I just knew. And it just kind of gave me a little sense of peace, but I still wasn't ready to get over the darkness that I had to experience, because I had to go through that darkness. Anyway, fast forward, there have been times in the astral field where I would dream and I would have visits from my mom, and it would be like she was there, to the point where I will wake up and I would be looking for her. Like, in that moment, it's just like, okay, where's my mom? And it's like, the thing that we need to understand, I mean, even think about cases where you have a paraplegic, or you have people who can't speak, or people who, I don't know, just you don't have any mobility or any sense of control with their body. If you look in their eyes, you can still see consciousness. You can still see that they're there. Even if I can't speak to you, you can look in my eyes and know that consciousness dwells within me. And I think that that's the biggest thing we have to understand about life itself, is that consciousness does not die. It's basically like energy. It can't be created or destroyed. It is just always with us. It's eternal. So no matter what this machine, what this body, like, it doesn't matter what happens to it, we, the self, are always there as one with consciousness. So I think that this is something that we probably need to understand, to stop fearing death. Even though it hurts to no longer physically have a person with us, I can say that I feel so held and protected. And when I think of my mom, it is the most loving feeling, because that emanates through me, because I know that even though she's not here physically, she's here. And I feel like once we grasp that, and that's why we go through painful experiences, it teaches us that the soul is everlasting. Consciousness is everlasting. Don't get so attached to a body that you forget that life force is always and will always be here, constantly with us at all times. It is eternal. So I don't know, that's the message. And it was hella long. I did not expect for this message to be that long, but maybe I needed to talk about it, because I have not talked about my mom passing publicly. So yeah.